Good morning, friends. I've asked Arlen in today just because I'm having more difficulty integrating the energetics I've been working with. And this morning I did a 2-hour ancestral healing code course. That's part of my 5 months training I'm doing with mystic and trauma therapist Thomas Hubl. And I don't know, things were already challenging over the last few days, especially a feeling of being overwhelmed by the disturbance of the world. So I thought maybe Arlen might give us some advice in terms of how to deal with the energetics. And so I'm waiting to hear what he has to say. And I'll turn things over to him. Okay. Arlen here. Yeah, it's a lot of energy to work with right now. And Stephen was having a conversation earlier today, and he was wondering if the energetics were affected the higher level beings as much as they're affecting the beings that are in bodies that are currently incarnate. If the effect on beings in body is greater than the effect of beings not in bodies. And so because he's doing this ancestral healing code course, I'll talk a little bit about that. It's been a process, taking Stephen through steps so that he could let go of beliefs he had about life that were limiting things that that he needed to be doing and that he had agreed to do. So part of this work for him has been allowing himself to be uncomfortable enough to look at the discomfort that he has around his beliefs. And now that we're in the last portion of the spiritual cleansing process, things are coming up faster and faster. And Stephen thinks that he needs to understand what he is that he's releasing and integrating. I mean, he does and he doesn't. So he has a perception that he can be back at World Healing Fields and not know what's going on and just feel what's going on, and that he can release and integrate the energies in that case. But when he is overwhelmed by the quantity of the energetics, fear arises, and a drawing away and a shutting down. Now, he worked with that really well today, and he stayed present in the course. But the course just brought up more. And I think that what he was asking earlier was, can we teach him something that will assist him to release and integrate energies faster, so that he has to spend less time getting over the process than he's spending currently? So it comes down to beliefs again. The first belief we're going to start with him today and help him release the energy of this belief is that he's a crybaby. So this term arose out of ancestry, that we're so afraid of having emotions that a number of them drank themselves to death. And someone else vibrating in a particular emotion, grief and loss, anger, irritability, fight, flight, freeze, these vibrations were not acceptable within his ancestry. So when emotions aren't acceptable, then they're held. And when they're held, they vibrate. So they're there. They're just not perceived to be acceptable to rise into consciousness. So there is the need to deliver a blow to a child who hasn't yet learned to control his emotions. So, as a young boy, kind of probably in a more flexible culture, a young boy would just be held and comforted when he was expressing emotional feelings. And that would help them to integrate the experience that they'd had to cause those feelings. But to make a statement like crybaby, it takes whatever development that you've achieved in terms of your 4, 5, 6-year-old self, it somewhat crushes that. And then those emotions are taken down with that crushing, and they're held, and they can be held in different places, but where Stephen chose to hold these feelings was in his lower abdomen. So he's been allowing these feelings up. And especially he's been allowing himself to feel anger. And he's done a really good job of keeping himself as the observer of the anger and not as the one who is angry. And that's just a useful thing to be able to do at times when one is working with difficult emotions such as anger and one has a fear that anger will lead to violence, which it can. And so we're going to just take a few of these and just help Stephen separate the energies from the story. So the story is, one of them is, that if you express emotion, you're a baby. You might have felt those energies come in to this hand. So here's the story. If you express emotions, you are a baby. That's a belief. So it doesn't matter if you're 7 years old or 70 years old. There's energy there. So we take and we separate the story off to one side, emotions off to the other side. When they're separated, you can release the emotions. The story releases. It has no energy to it. That's one. Okay, here's another one, and this one's held right here. So you might be able to feel it. Anyone who expresses emotion hurts everyone. Feel that one. Feel the emotions of it. So we'll just take those emotions right out of there where they're stored, and we'll just put that story to the side, and we'll just put the emotion to the side. And then release the emotion, release the story. And feel the body relax. So it's not holding that feeling, emotion in. It's letting it out. Here's another one just because it showed up. The story, you would kill your father if he thought you were gay, which I think he did, and it didn't kill him. So I don't know why that one was held. And then the emotions of it. And we separate them. Let go of the emotions. Let go of the story. I'm going to repeat that one just to check and see. You would kill your father if he thought you were gay. Yep, we got a little bit more on that one. So there's the story. Motion straight out of the heart. Story to the side, motions to the other side. Motions released. Story released. So you're beginning to get the feeling that when the emotion is released, the story is not as important, releasing the story, but there's no emotion, so the story has no value as a belief, as a protective mechanism, a protective for yourself and for others. Beliefs are primarily a protective mechanism for yourself in relationship to others. Yeah, so it could be a belief about the other, or it could be a belief about yourself and your danger to another, or others' danger towards you. Okay, here's the next one. The story. Men are inherently cruel. Story off to the side. Emotions off to the other side. These ones are taking a stretch. These ones are not separating easily. We're just going to wait. As they go, release of the emotion, release of the story. Now Stephen's being able to breathe. He was holding his breath. Next one is, you are better than that. No description of what that is. There's the emotions. Separate the story and the emotions. You are better than that. Release of emotions. That one actually had a lot of emotions. And if it didn't for you, you could at least feel that it did here. Okay. Sadness, and this is the story, sadness is for sissies. It's the sadness. And we could just grab, gently take a chunk of sadness, a big gob of sadness, and then put it out to the side. Sadness is for sissies. Release the emotions, release the story. That feels enough for now. Stephen wants to, we can do more. His tendency in the past has been to just get feeling a little bit better and then disconnect. Because it's through connection with others that these things come up. So if you don't connect with others, then they don't come up as often. But he's realizing that he can utilize my help, and I help him to do things gently and easily, as opposed to with struggle. And he recognizes his belief about suffering and about struggling, and he's released a lot of the energies of that. But here we just go. We're just going to say the story again. In order to heal, there needs to be struggle and suffering. And then here's the suffering. And the release of the suffering and the release of the story. So just another layer off of that one. He had already released a number of layers off that, but that was more core. I'm not going to say that was the core of it, but that was more core. And we'll just go down to the core when we can. But when it's better to just remove some, we'll do that. Okay, that's it for today. I hope this is something that works well for you. And I know it's worked well for Stephen because I'm in the body with him and I could feel all those changes. So for now, it's Arlen, and I'll just give it back to Steve. Okay. Well, I feel different, and I appreciate you acting as a witness to the process, and you may have felt the process. And this will, I think can be, we'll come up with a name for it. Anyway, yeah, do your best. Don't take it personally. Speak your truth, or be impeccable with your word. And don't assume. Now can change.